We all need sleep, and without it, we just aren't ourselves. We get cranky, grumpy, and whatnot just by lack of sleep. But did you know that there are creatures on the planet who don't even sleep? They don't get sleepy, nor do they wait for nights to have their little naps. Some species barely sleep, and some quite literally do not sleep at all. Welcome back to another episode. Today, we're going to look at 5 animals who shockingly never get their much-needed beauty sleep. Before we spill the names of those animals, let's take a closer look at what sleep is. We humans see falling asleep and waking up like a fresh cucumber as a reset for the human system. We might not know why we sleep, but we are sure smart enough to see that it energizes and refreshes us. Well, at least after the initial 5 minutes when we're groggy and don't want anyone to talk to us. Scientists have conducted a lot of research on both human beings and animals to understand the mystery that is sleep. Despite going through sleeping habits and patterns of various organisms, the concept of sleep remains foggy. Many reasons like inactivity, energy conservation, restoration, and brain plasticity can answer the question, but none of them can really be credited as the reason. Imagine falling asleep but still being able to respond to external stimuli. Like if your cat were to scratch your leg, would you be able to respond with the same swiftness as if you were awake? If not, then you're probably not a bullfrog. A 1967 study concluded that bullfrogs are the king of no-sleep land. It is a sizable frog native to eastern North America found in swamps, ponds, lakes, and man-made water habitats. They can even survive without sleeping for months at a time. However, sometimes they do shut their eyes and appear to be resting, but when teased, their response is as swift as if they were never asleep. It's difficult to figure out if animals are sleeping. Like in animals with an incitating membrane or a transparent third eyelid as part of evolution that can be used to protect eyes in harsh conditions. It is found in fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and few mammals, but is rare in primates. Although one of the best ways scientists use to determine the sleep or rest state is to check the body temperature and other internal activities in the organisms. Researchers say these huge bullfrogs are awake enough to respond to painful stimuli or respiratory changes even while resting. But the question comes, how do they even manage to survive without sleep? Well, they don't. Instead of going into an inattentive state while sleeping, they take power naps without zoning out. Kinda sounds like me back in history class. And when it's time for them to be active, they rest lightly. But it makes sense because they hibernate for months, and that deep sleep stage covers all their restlessness. The debate is still on whether these hopping greens hold the title of non-sleepers, but they sure pass as nominees. What if we had no brains? Could we still have a comfy sleep? We might have to check in with the animals that have no brains, the jellyfish. Side note, did you know they are essentially immortal? Maybe having no brains is a good thing after all. Jellyfishes have nothing more than a rudimentary nervous system. For years, people agreed on the fact that no brains means no sleep. That's until 3 friends at Caltech decided to verify the myth by studying Cassiopeia, or an upside-down jellyfish. These brainless creatures are found in warmer coastal regions worldwide, including mangrove swamps, mudflats, canals, and turtle grass flats. It was seen that even if they do not enter a deep sleep mode like most humans or other mammals, they do enter a sleep-like state, which means that their activity is considerably low at night. They have delayed reactions to external stimuli, and sleeplessness can mess with their functions. Now, you might be thinking, how long do they sleep? Well, 10 to 20 seconds of pauses between their pulses is what we'll label as their sleeping period. I know, we are too far with 9 hours of sleep to consider 10 to 20 seconds as a normal sleeping duration. Sea urchins fall into the same category as Cassiopeia, with a brainless and simple nervous system. They too were believed to reign on the no-sleep land alongside their sisters. However, these creatures, no matter how primitive and brainless, do rest in teeny-tiny naps. So, turns out that one task anyone without brains can nail is indeed sleeping. If anyone said sleep and elephant together, I would imagine an adorable and hefty beast under a tree snoring after a colossal meal. But it wasn't meant to be. These enormous creatures in the wild just have 2 hours of disrupted sleep. Comes with a shock for an animal considered to be the largest mammal on this planet. Their size requires a massive amount of food to keep up with their health and other functions. If you observe an elephant for 24 hours, you will see that they keep eating all day long and doze off for 15 to 20 minutes. Adding to the fact they can go 46 hours without sleep. Our huge friends prefer sleeping in a standing position as they have no interest in wasting time. Of course, they can lie down if they haven't rested for a long time, but they tend to avoid it as getting back on their legs can be pretty time-consuming for them. And cheers to the matriarchs of the herds. Since they have to lead the herd, a very tiny portion of sleep comes their way. Aside from leading, it's also their responsibility to protect the herd from any threats. So the mothers and females take up the defense and sometimes offense. Because they not only lead but also have to protect the herd from any imminent threats. Do you think nature gave no sleep quality to the animals for safety purposes? If yes, then comment down below. But some animals can sleep for over a year. Snails in less than ideal situations can sleep for 3 whole years to avoid a warm climate and lack of moisture. What would you try to avoid by sleeping for 3 years? Our friends in the water have also set some high standards for sleeping. Dolphins and their slee, yes, slee and not sleep. Because these aquatic animals accomplish something called unihemispheric sleep, where only half their brain falls asleep while the other half stays awake. They can also switch from one side of the brain to the other while sleeping and rest both sides equally. Crazy, isn't it? Apart from this, a dolphin spends 2 months of its life sleepless, the first month when it is still a baby and the second month when it gives birth to a baby. The baby dolphins sleep with their bodies pressed against their mothers to avoid drowning. Similarly, the mothers stay awake to protect their little ones from possible harm. Oh, did we say dolphins set high standards for sleeping? Well, they still do down here. But 4,000 meters above sea level is a whole different story. The great frigate birds found in tropical Pacific and Indian Oceans are well known to be in flight for 10 days at a time. They can cover distances up to 3,000 kilometers. These birds don't appear to sleep, except they do. If you find yourself on a beach, sunbathing, and see a bird plunging towards the sea and jolting towards the sky the next second before falling into the water, there, you might have just seen the frigate bird drifting in and out of their sleep. They experience slow-wave sleep for an hour daily in the flight where one side of the brain rests and the other side stays connected to their eyes to stay on guard and avoid a collision. That's certainly more impressive than snails and dolphins. We bet you will have to count on sheeps tonight after listening to the tales of these animals who barely sleep. Before leaving the video, hit the like button and don't forget to share and subscribe. Turn on the bell icon to get notified every time we upload a new video. Thanks for watching.